which just so happened to be an abandoned Circuit City. This time,
maybe this guy is responsible for Toys R Us and Circuit City going under. After they found out that this man was living in their walls for... it's been almost a year, I think, now. Can you watch Roofman, the criminal who lived in the roof of a toy store? Did you drive to Texas? Yeah, you're darn tootin'. We went straight through Mobile, Alabama and spent the night. Bro, I could smell the incest in the air. That shit was crazy. Alright, let's start with... let's see Roofman. This sounds kind of interesting. I do love criminals that hide in attics and shit.
Nigel and Luke here. And they were preparing to open the fast food restaurant for the normal weekend breakfast rush. However, unbeknownst to...
Quick question, is there still a massive breakfast rush for McDonald's? I remember when I was a kid that was the shit, but I feel like McDonald's has just such steep competition these days for the breakfast slot. Do we have any other, like, big McDonald's breakfast enthusiasts here? Because near me it's kind of just like, no one cares anymore. Overwhelmingly, yes. Why though? I feel like the other breakfast options are much better. I think it really fell off. The McSkillet? Bro, just go to like Dunkin' or something at that point if you're just looking for something like a McSkillet. Chat's kind of split. It was overwhelmingly yes in the beginning, but now everyone's arguing the competitors, which is what I was fucking talking about. I just think the McDonald's breakfast has really fallen off. It's like Netflix stock, but for food.
The employees, at the same time as they were busy working to get ready for their first customers of the day, another person was in the midst of a different kind of routine. After cutting a small hole in the roof of the McDonald's, the masked robber dropped down through the ceiling, taking all of the employees by surprise.
Some Mission Impossible shit.
Armed with a rifle, he didn't try to threaten anyone. Instead, he was calm and cordial, asking the employees to please get down on the ground, while he
just steals all their hash browns
to the restaurant safe to open it for him so that he could take the money inside, where they were locked inside.
It seems kind of nice.
They were asked if they wanted to grab their coats to stay warm while they waited for help to arrive. After
they have a police sketch and it's just a Hamburglar.
Fled. While the employees didn't know it at the time, they would soon learn that they had come face to face with one of the country's most notorious fast food robbers. A man whose criminal exploits would eventually become so strange and unbelievable, they would seem ridiculous even by the standards of a Hollywood movie.
That's such an interesting specialty, a fast food robber. Reminds me of Better Call Saul, where he specializes in, like, elderly law. Thank you for the 10 gift subs, Mustard. I just saw that, man. Thank you for the generosity. And there's some Saltex, Fobsy, Visored, and Mossbutt. Is there any other fast food bandits? Like the wet bandits? Yeah, I'm on season 2 of Better Call Saul. I've been blasting through it on this trip. Show is so good. So it's just Roofman and Plankton. I saw a video of 2 women stealing everyone's food inside a restaurant. Don't remember where, though. Probably McDonald's. Actually, I take that back. Probably Waffle House. Waffle House is a restaurant you go to and you're just looking for fights. And maybe, like, a waffle or 2. So this is basically the only fast food specialized robber is what I'm getting.
This is the story of Jeffrey Allen Manchester, the so-called Roofman, or rooftop robber.
Cool title.
That if you enjoy our videos, to please remember to like and subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this. While little is known about why Jeffrey Allen Manchester chose to turn to a life of crime, what we do know
the better question is why turn to a life of crime for fast
robber
food?
Known as Roofman, he lived what appeared to be a normal life. Manchester became a sergeant in the Army Reserves and reportedly trained in a number of different areas. He received airborne training at Fort Bragg in North Carolina and air assault training at Fort Campbell in Kentucky,
SEAL
and was further trained as an artillery specialist. Some reports we came across also stated that he took several courses involving the operation of military vehicles, including a 6-week course to become a watercraft operator at Fort Eustis in Virginia.
Wow.
And by the end of 1998, he and his wife were in the process of getting divorced, and he no longer lived with her or the kids. Now alone, it was at this point that he apparently decided to put his military training to a different kind of use. In November of 1998...
Do you really need military training to rob a McDonald's? I feel like you could just go in and be like, I just want the money in the register, and like, make like a finger gun in your jacket and be like, yeah, just take it. Like, I don't think you really needed all like the special ops training just to become like a fucking filet-o-fish fondler felon Damn, that would have been better instead of fucking Fondler. It doesn't even make sense. Man, this guy, those McDonald's employees, they didn't know who they were fucking with when he busted through their ceiling. The second they're just serving up a quarter pounder, next second they got goddamn Jason Bourne coming through the top turnbuckle.
Manchester began a 1.5-year-long crime spree that would allegedly see him rob more than 40 businesses in 9 different states across the continental US. Though he would hit the occasional video rental store, grocery store, or other retail business, his specialty became robbing McDonald's locations. Police would later estimate
so just McDonald's,
that these
no Arby's or anything?
comprised roughly 2/3 of all the robberies Manchester committed between 1998 and 2000. While the bulk of Manchester's robberies were committed in California, he would eventually hit McDonald's locations in Nevada, Oregon, Minnesota, Massachusetts, Maryland, Virginia, and both of the Carolinas, making off with an estimated $100,000. Nearly all of the robberies...
All of that work for $1,000?
Manchester would use tools to cut a hole in the roof of the location, dropping down anywhere from 10 to 15 feet.
I'm so confused. I guess I haven't paid enough attention to Oh, 100,000, sorry. I guess I'm super confused on why he'd bring tools to cut a hole in the ceiling. Aren't they drop tiles? Doesn't McDonald's use drop tiles? Not all of them? Oh, to get to the outside roof. Okay. So he didn't... Okay, I see what he did then. This man literally cut through the top of the outside roof. I thought... What I would have expected is he'd go to the roof and take like a service exit, like a service hatch, and then bust in through the drop tiles. I see. Okay. So he was a step ahead.
Before rounding up the employees, stealing the restaurant's cash, and leaving them locked in the walk-in fridge unharmed. Strangely, almost everyone noted that he was exceptionally polite and apologetic towards employees during the robberies, in some cases even joking around with them.
Aww.
In one instance, he reportedly remarked to a group of employees before locking them up, "Hey, at least you get the rest of the day off." Though there were occasionally slight variations to Manchester's robberies, such as him cutting a hole in one of the restaurant's walls instead of the roof,
most
of the crimes were nearly identical. And aside from one incident where he pistol-whipped an employee, it appears that he almost never used violence while committing the robberies. Because of this, it was fairly easy for authorities to attribute the unusual crimes to the same person. However, identifying and catching that person turned out to be far more difficult. While most criminals would likely think twice about committing the same sort of crime over and over, Manchester knew that each McDonald's restaurant he hit would operate the same way and have the same basic floor plan. Things were always roughly in the same place, and the restaurants ran on almost identical schedules, allowing Manchester to hit them at their most vulnerable times.
So what? I still am super confused on why the roof. What tactical advantage does he get from busting in right here behind the counter as opposed to just rushing through here and jumping over the counter? Just like the element of surprise? No alarm? I guess, but there's still employees there either way, right? Because like they said, he was always really nice to the employees and telling them to get to the back and shit, so there's still people there. So at that point, the alarm's kind of worthless, wouldn't you think? Because of no surveillance? I guess if he exits through the roof too, yeah. I don't think... Well, I imagine they'd have cameras inside, right? Maybe not.
Either while they were closing up for the night, or while they were opening up first thing in the morning. That being said, not all of the Roofman's crimes were perfect. During his very first attempt at robbing a McDonald's in Folsom, California, he cut a hole in the roof and dropped inside, only to discover that the restaurant was closed for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Oof.
Sometimes, police would find tool marks on the exterior of locations where the Roofman had obviously started a robbery, but had needed to abandon his attempt for one reason or another. There were also a fair number of close calls with police. In one instance, Manchester needed to fire his gun at a door to make a last-second escape. In another, he reportedly jumped off a roof and over a fence before managing to get away on foot. The Roofman would finally be identified and caught on May 20th, 2000, shortly after committing the early morning robbery at the Main Street McDonald's in Belmont, North Carolina, that we described at the beginning of the video. The Main Street McDonald's was actually the second one that he had robbed that day. Just a few hours earlier, Manchester had robbed another McDonald's just 10 miles away in Gastonia as they were closing for the night.
That's plenty of distance, I'd say.
Because authorities were more than familiar with the Roofman's MO by this point, there was still a heavy police presence in the area at the time of the second robbery. True to his reputation, Manchester didn't put up a fight when cornered by officers, instead telling them, quote, "You guys did a really good job today." With Manchester's arrest came a flurry of news articles announcing that the notorious Roofman had been identified and caught. According to these reports, investigators were eventually able to link him to crimes beyond just the 2 robberies in North Carolina by looking at his travel records with the military. It turned out that many of the Roofman's robberies had stopped in certain states when he left, only to start in others just as he arrived for military assignments or training exercises. He was ultimately sentenced to 45 years in prison on charges ranging from robbery with a dangerous weapon to kidnapping, possession of burglary tools, and breaking and entering.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
Initially appeared to be the end of the Roofman, little did anyone know that his story was far from over.
Really? He busted a hole out of the prison cell?
Following his conviction at the end of 2000, Jeffrey Manchester was sent to the Brown Creek Correctional Institution, a medium-security prison located in Anson County, North Carolina. For nearly the next 4 years, Manchester played the part of a model prisoner. A search of his inmate records lists 0 infractions during this time, and his good behavior earned him a position in the prison's metal shop. However, as much as the Roofman gave the appearance of quietly serving his time, he had no intention of completing his full sentence. He had been using the same skills of observation that he had used to commit his robberies to find blind spots in the prison's security. This included familiarizing himself with the comings and goings of prisoners, the shifts and schedules of guards, and any vehicles that made their way in and out of the prison grounds. Finally, in the summer of 2004, he was ready to make his escape.
2004 was
the key to
crazy
Manchester's plan was his job in the prison metal shop. Every day, a delivery truck would come inside the shop area to pick up the beds, lockers, and stainless steel kitchen items that were manufactured there before leaving the prison grounds. The truck arrived on the same set schedule every time, and Manchester decided that this was his way out. After obtaining some measurements of the metal frame rails that ran underneath the delivery truck, Manchester cut a length of plywood so that it would fit snugly between the rails, creating a platform where he could lie. The idea was to ride on the vehicle as a hidden passenger until he was outside the prison walls.
Pretty good plan.
At which point, he could go on the run. Because Manchester knew that the underside of the delivery truck would be checked by guards with mirrors, he spray-painted his plywood platform board black to match the underside of the vehicle. Some reports we came across state that he completed the illusion with a couple of additional pieces of spray-painted cardboard, so that his head and feet couldn't be seen at either end. Finally, Manchester reportedly chose to execute his plan on a rainy day, meaning that guards were less likely to thoroughly check the underside of the delivery truck. On the afternoon of June 15th, 2004, Jeffrey Manchester put his plan into action and escaped from the Brown Creek Correctional Institution, making him the first person to do so in the facility's 11-year history.
Hey, that's pretty good. Well, 11 years isn't super long. That's still good.
Though authorities suspected that Manchester might try to head back to his home state.
Convicted kidnapper and break-in artist considered dangerous. Hey man, he's not a kidnapper. He just put them in a freezer at their own workplace. I'd say that's more like a kid mover, like a slight relocator.
It was here, at an unassuming retail plaza, that he would set up a living space that would baffle and amuse both the public and law enforcement officials.
Oh my god, he opened his own McDonald's. A franchise owner.
The Roofman chose a Toys R Us store located in a complex called the Triangle Shopping Center, just off of Monroe Road. He hid out in a small cubbyhole area he made for himself behind a bike rack in the store. The rack was conveniently located up against one of the store's walls, allowing him to do what he did best: cut and tunnel out more space for himself so that he could remain out of sight. He raced remote control cars on the roof in the middle of the night, rode bikes around the store for exercise, and managed to get most of the nourishment that he needed by stealing and eating baby food.
Toys R Us had all kinds of snacks. He didn't need baby food. I remember back in the heyday at Toys R Us, you could get like fucking pounds of Doritos and shit. My man's over there just eating like meat sticks and apple mush when he could have been feasting on Doritos and Oreos. This man just said, fuck it, I want the Gerbers. This actually seems like something out of Codename Kids Next Door. Like one of the villains infiltrates a toy store that the kids are shopping at in order to torment them and scare them at night. Man's actually the boogeyman at the Jeffrey's Play Palace here.
As this all may seem, the Roofman hadn't chosen a Toys R Us as his home simply for his own amusement. His real intention was to pull off a major robbery at the location.
Of a toy store?
To this end, he decided that there was no better place to plan the heist than at the scene of the crime itself. As weeks passed, Manchester continually cased the store, establishing the routines of employees and security guards, looking for blind spots. To aid him in his scheme, he set up baby monitors so that he could watch things in the store remotely, and even began secretly changing the schedules of employees and security personnel to better align with his plans.
Wow!
However, like with the Roofman's previous criminal escapades, the longer he went without being caught, the bolder he became. Obviously unsatisfied by his constant diet of baby food, a couple of months after he escaped, he was regularly eating lunch at a nearby Red Lobster and had actively started getting involved in the local community. By October, Manchester had joined the Crossroads Presbyterian Church, which was conveniently located just a few hundred yards away from his Toys R Us hideout. He introduced himself as John Zorin, and soon became an active member of the congregation. He even started dating a woman named Lee, who he had met at one of the church's singles events. Lee was attracted by John's generosity, sense of humor, and kindness, and was impressed that he wanted to spend so much time hanging out at her apartment playing games with her and her 3 kids. Of course, the truth was that their dates could not have ended at his place, since he was living behind a bike rack at Toys R Us.
Well, it sounds like he could have upgraded.
Asked about why they never spent the night at his place, Manchester reportedly told Lee that he had a government job that he couldn't tell anyone about, and that his accommodations were in a sterile and uncomfortable office-type building.
Smart.
Though many might consider Lee gullible for believing this,
I'm a secret agent,
it's important to point out that Manchester told this same story to everyone else that he came in contact with, and no one, especially those at the church, had any suspicions that John Zorin was anyone other than who he said he was. As the Toys R Us store became increasingly more busy in the lead-up to Christmas, Manchester decided to make improvements to his living quarters in order to remain undetected. It was during this time that he realized he could tunnel directly through the store's wall into the adjacent unit, which just so happened to be an abandoned Circuit City. This time,
maybe this guy is responsible for Toys R Us and Circuit City going under. After they found out that this man was living in their walls for... it's been almost a year, I think, now. They just got so fucking paranoid that the business started sinking. What a cool setup, though. That is like the most early 2000s shit imaginable. Like, that is your early 2000s shopping starting kit. Toys R Us, Circuit City, and Radio Shack. The only thing he's missing is a Blockbuster. Then he tunnels underground and goes right to Blockbuster or some shit.
Though unfortunately, there are no pictures of Manchester's hideout that we can find.
Why wouldn't there be?
News reports describe it as a 4 by 10 foot sort of closet that had been painted to blend in with the wall. Inside, he decorated the space with posters, put up a mini basketball hoop, and brought in a DVD player. He also added more baby monitors to add to his makeshift surveillance system, and even installed a smoke detector and piped in water from the Toys R Us next door.
Wait, how would nobody ever hear that? He piped in his own water line? How would he be able to successfully do that? It's not like, it's not the hardest thing in the world to do that, I guess, if you tee off of an already existing line, but still, I feel like you'd absolutely hear that, because you have to like drill into the walls and shit, and you have to tee off that pipe. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, I guess just doing it like in the dead of night without anyone being around, you'd probably never notice. But I don't think it'd be something you'd be able to bust out in like a single night or anything like that. I feel like it'd be a job that'd be half finished for a while.
Several Spider-Man posters were found on the walls of his hideout. A Spider-Man 2 DVD was found along with the DVD player, and Manchester was even sleeping on Spider-Man sheets.
That's so
Nevertheless, by all accounts, this new hideout seems to have been much better than the first one behind the bike rack. In order to continue to travel between the Toys R Us and the Circuit City as he pleased, Manchester left the tunnel between the two units intact.
I bet so many kids saw him behind the bike rack and just got scared and didn't say anything.
In with the walls on both sides. As cunning as Manchester had been, however, at some point he must have become aware that he couldn't continue living like this forever. Employees at the Toys R Us were definitely aware that things were going missing, and Manchester had a couple of close calls when police were called to the store to investigate. On December 26th, he decided it was time to pull off the big robbery that he had been planning. Unfortunately for the Roofman, when he tried to pull off the crime, things did not go according to plan. Similar to the 2000 robbery in Belmont, when he held up the Toys R Us, employees were able to contact police sooner than he anticipated. It turned out the two of them had managed to slip out during the robbery. Things went even further sideways when an off-duty sheriff's deputy arrived at the scene. Manchester responded by punching her, stealing her gun, and running away.
That's aggressive.
Amazingly,
he used to be so nice.
The Roofman seemed cornered. He managed to escape through his trapdoors undetected. It's unclear whether or not he returned to the hideout within the Circuit City, but what we do know is that when police conducted their initial search, they did not find him. While they discovered the trapdoor leading from the Toys R Us, as well as a whole bunch of stolen merchandise inside the ceiling of the Circuit City, the actual 4x10 room that Manchester had constructed remained hidden for several days. It wasn't until January 2nd, 2005, when an officer was conducting another routine inspection of the abandoned Circuit City, that Manchester's mind-blowing secret room was uncovered. In a bid to cover his tracks, Manchester burned down a dentist office where he had gotten his teeth fixed while on the run.
How does that...
He was worried that police would be able to find his dental records there.
Okay.
This had the opposite effect of what he intended.
Prison really changed
and only made investigators more suspicious. Manchester's identity was confirmed when one of his fingerprints were lifted from his secret room in the Circuit City. On January 5th, police contacted Manchester's girlfriend Lee and arranged for her to have him come over to her house for a supposed 40th birthday party. Manchester showed up, believing he would be able to see his girlfriend one last time before continuing his life on the run. He arrived with flowers, but was arrested by waiting officers before he could make it inside the apartment. In an interview, Lee described her shock at the whole situation, saying, quote, "I don't hate him. I'm disappointed and confused.
Oh, that's even worse.
I don't know whether to smack him or hug him." The same confused sentiments were also expressed by many police officers and investigators who obviously wanted to catch him, but at the same time seemed almost impressed by what he had accomplished.
This camera angle has me crying. Bro, this camera angle is slapping. I look cool. It's like a Jumbotron that's looking down at me. Like when, you know, like the kiss cam at sports. I think it looks great. Nothing I can do about it, man. I set this shit up on top of a bathroom stand, like where the sink and shit is, off to the side. I'm doing the best I can in the fucking log cabin, man. I'm trying.
Quote, "You hate to compliment the guy because he's a dirtbag, but we can learn a lot from him." Another sergeant remarked, "This would make a great movie." Manchester was ultimately convicted on a slew of new charges, including malicious use of explosives to damage property, burning an unoccupied building, breaking and entering, possession of a firearm by a felon, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and prison escape. An inmate search lists his total incarceration term as 47 years, 2 months, and 15 days.
He's a Tier 1 demon?
Unlike his previous prison term, it appears that Manchester has racked up quite a few infractions since he was recaptured, including at least 2 for additional escape attempts. Manchester is currently incarcerated at the Central Prison in Raleigh, where his projected release date is December 4th, 2036. Do you know of any other cases like this that you think we should check out?
What a cool story.
Tell us about them.
That prison is 5 minutes from my house. Bro, you might want to move just in case the Roofman gets out. He'll start living in your walls. Sleep in fear, man. Sleep in fear. Damn, I can't believe I've never heard of this story. There was something I was... Oh, Gunner. I saw Gunner posted a new video. I didn't see what it was on, though. The Addison Rae Trainwreck reality show. Is this that Netflix show? Addison Rae Goes Home. I don't remember. Is that the one that's like a bunch of influencers in a house or some shit? No, is it not the one about the ones in a house? This is her Snapchat show. Alright, I'll give it a try.
Biden, what's good? Yo, we should collab. I did everything Austin Walls taught me, and he still said no. And the Secret Service shot me 25 times in the chest. Addison Rae, you know her, everyone knows her. TikTok star who broke the mainstream and now has her very own terrible reality TV show on Snapchat. Because who doesn't love watching TV vertically, where for every 10 seconds of show, you get 15 seconds of ads? What a deal. On the upside, it makes it easier for teens to go back and forth between watching Addison Rae and sending snaps of half their face to keep streaks with people they barely...
Wait, I love awful influencer movies. What was that one? He's All That, I think?
Addison is basically just doing an influencer circuit speed run of hitting every content medium she can as fast as possible. She was in an awful...
He's All That. Addison Rae and... Who the fuck is Tanner Buchanan? This looks like Jay Schlatt when he uses that attractive man filter. Is this a real human being or like an android? Has anyone seen this? We're watching some goofy shit. Let's see what this is. I'll probably watch this. I love these awful movies. I really do. He's All That is an American 2021 romantic teen comedy film directed by Mark Waters. We got any Mark Waters fans in here? What's he made? Mark Waters is the genius behind such bangers like Magic Camp, Bad Santa 2, I know that one, Vampire Academy, and Mr. Popper's Penguins. Oh, and Sorry Haters and Mean Girls. And Freaky Friday. Whoa! And Freaky Friday. Wait just a minute. Mark Waters kind of producing fire. I'll check it out. I think it's on Netflix. I'll let you guys know my thoughts. Also, for what it's worth, I did watch Tall Girl when that movie came out, and I didn't think it was nearly as shitty as everyone else did. It's kind of like my movie hot take. It was just as forgettably bad as every other like teen romance movie ever made.
Movie last year, she's been making music, she's in commercials selling a totally legit blue light protective spray.
Meet Screen Break, Item Beauty's blue light and anti-pollution face mist.
And just look at that cover picture. Of course, she's on her phone, probably making a TikTok, working, looking an awful lot more southern than usual, laying on a pile of hay or grass or just general debris. Addison Rae returns to her roots in Louisiana.
That is a cool picture.
A more personal side than they have ever seen before. A more personal side? Your entire life is on camera. You can show your personal side anytime you want. Here, watch. I'll do it right now. I wear socks to bed, and I'm proud of it. I didn't need a 10-point Snapchat series to tell you that, because I have a little something called integrity, and something little called cold feet at night. The name's...
You're a psychopath. Who wears socks to bed?
Addison Rae's new trailer is giving us life, right? Fellow youth? No cap on that snapback. Addison Rae is totes giving major Gemini energy in this trailer. Addison Rae back in the swamp is the ultimate vibe.
What the fuck does that mean?
I would have to agree. I was just having a Deece vibe until I saw this. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, more like Addison Rae Ultimate Vibe. And with that shitty joke, let's jump right into it.
That was a banger, honestly.
I was born in Louisiana. Then I picked up and moved my life to LA. I went from doing dance videos in my living room for friends to posting them to more than 80 million followers. It's brought me a lot of love, but with that comes a lot of hate.
Oof.
He's talking about us.
Now, I'll be going back home to Louisiana for a week with my mom, dad, and my 2 little brothers. We're going to the lake! I'm kinda nervous. Will I fit in back home? I wonder if it'll be like it used to.
It's a single...
What a weird premise. What? What? Well, now that I'm super rich and famous, I have to wonder, will I be able to mingle with the plebeians again, or am I just too far above them to comprehend that kind of poor nature? I'll have to find out by experimenting in the swamp. What is the idea of this show? Isn't she like 20 years old and she's only been doing TikTok for like a year and a half, 2 years or something? Why wouldn't she fit in all of a sudden? If she doesn't fit in, it's because she's the fucking problem. She's from an upper middle class family too. Oh, ew. Not even 1%? Ugh, I can see why she might have trouble fitting in now. She's gonna have to fucking call her own parents cringe.
Home. What are you actually nervous about? Will I fit in back home? Or am I now just an untouchable goddess of social media? Will I be able to hold a normal conversation with these filthy peasants? Or will I accidentally sign an autograph by reflex?
I'm still nervous to see my friends and family who knew me before everything. I just hope they remember I'm the same person they've always known.
What it's giving Hannah Montana movie. I've only seen the show, but big facts. The premise of that...
It's like she's fucking Jekyll and Hyde or like Bruce Wayne and Batman. My parents, or my family knew me before I became TikTok famous. Now they won't even recognize me. I've undergone a metamorphosis into a beautiful butterfly of clout.
Mom, Pa, I've gone TikTok famous. You think I got what it takes? I don't know, Addison. Those LA folks don't take too kindly to us world-grounded country women. They think us strange because we do crazy things like catching crawfish.
Growing up, my family and I ate a shit ton of crawfish.
So
on Snapchat saying shit? That's kind of big.
Ray, her going back to her family and non-social media friends. Why does it already feel like it accomplishes the exact opposite? I suppose it might have something to do with the fact that you're filming a reality TV show about it. When you know the show producers are setting up specific activities,
Tier 1 Dario,
shots,
sub-sampling,
cutaways, and conversations, it sort of takes away from the "will I still fit in" storyline. No, Addison, you won't. You're coming home with a camera crew. How is anything you're doing supposed to be authentic? For instance, most of the conversations in the show are so scripted that it just feels like Addison is being interviewed.
How did you handle that public breakup? What did you do to okay, I'm okay, everything's gonna be fine?
What a normal conversation.
Not falling apart. Has being in that public relationship before change your opinion on when you want to pursue a new relationship?
Man, what are you, a spy or something?
This isn't how friends ask questions. Making some long pointed allusion to her past relationship and how she handled it on and off social media. Simmer down, Oprah. For the Snap execs watching, please take notes because I will now rephrase that question into how Addison Rae's 21-year-old friend would actually ask it.
Oh man, he's method acting. He's going in.
So do you and Bryce still fuck? End scene. Thank you.
Damn, this guy's good.
Thank you. Good night. It's weird that they never say Bryce Hall in the show. They just kind of refer to it as her public relationship. I think as we all get older, more and more people are recognizing just how fake a setup like this is in a reality.
I mean, it's for fucking Snapchat.
This exact moment that they are
of course it's gonna be dog shit.
2 different camera operators, a sound team hanging a boom mic above them, and multiple producers watching everything from the sideline. You know it's all planned out. You don't do all of that and then risk a boring conversation about Barbies or dolls or whatever girls talk about. Ask about Bryce, but don't you dare say his name. Here's some blankets to look comfy and some empty mugs to pass as if you're drinking hot cocoa in the summer of Louisiana.
Slow down, take a breath, take everything.
But sometimes it's necessary to slow down and prioritize myself.
Speaking of fake
what does that
shots,
mean?
These slow-mo narrations, without a doubt, are my favorite part of the show. It really emphasizes that Addison is just a real person like us, capable of thoughts and
Iron
human
and Whiz
being
Kid.
emotion.
The fact that some people call me their role model feels weird and scary. Some people say they don't know what they're doing, but I definitely don't.
Addison, you are a multi-millionaire. I don't think you have the luxury of claiming you don't know what you're doing. You've obviously got some notion of how to capitalize off your fame, this show being an example of that. But that's what this show is all about, right? Addison appearing to be relatable. So
what is this? Can you look at Snapchat numbers? I'm curious. Do people actually watch this and enjoy it? Oh, you can individually subscribe to shows on Snapchat. So her show has 497,000 subscribers. Is there reviews? Well, there it has to be because he brought one up. Because I don't even understand who this is supposed to appeal to. Because let's say I'm an 8-year-old girl. I'm a big Addison Rae fan. Why the fuck am I gonna watch her just go home? What is there for I'm there to just watch her do TikTok trendy dances. Why the fuck do I care if she goes home? What is there to watch or do there? Kids don't care, man. I guess, but I remember when I was a kid, I still watched things where things happen. This is based, I mean, granted we've only seen clips here. This is literally nothing happening. It's slow-mo shots and then I guess an interview? Do people not review these things? Because I can't find shit. I did. I even typed in just general review to see what critics are saying, but no one's even mentioning it. Closest thing I found is this guy who wrote an article with a quote from her saying, "A lot of people say I dropped out of school for TikTok, and I don't think I dropped out of school for TikTok. It was because I knew that this was a career path that I've always wanted to pursue, kind of, in the entertainment industry." But you were literally saying right there that you dropped out for TikTok. It's part of the entertainment industry. People are confused by that, and they think I dropped out because of the app, but it was really to focus on pursuing my career in the entertainment industry and moving out here too. On TikTok. The statement is still accurate. It doesn't change anything. He's made a very successful career out of it, and I can't find any reviews, so I'm just going to assume everyone loves it.
One person I never have to question? Gussie. One of my best friends growing up and still today.
I'm sorry, Gussie? Her name's Gussie? I'm not
No, it's a nickname.
Sure you made that up to make her look more grounded in Louisiana. You see, I actually looked up the number of babies named Gussie over the years. On this chart, notice how it kind of stops in 1952. I guess one slipped through the cracks.
Regardless of everything that's happened in the past year.
No, hold on, wait. I'm gonna have to do a little research of my own. How did he spell it? He did I-E, didn't he? Yeah, Gussie with an I-E. It's G-U-S-S-Y. Obviously. Let's see. Alright, here we go. Baby's named Gussie. The name Gussie is a girl's name meaning great, magnificent. Gussie is fussy, try Gus. What the fuck are you talking about on this website? Jesus Christ.
Slip through the cracks.
Regardless of everything that's happened in the past 2 years, you're one of the only people in my life like that ever has really like got me. It's so rare to find a friendship like we have. That's what I feel like I've been struggling with.
Why are they both wearing cowboy hats in the rain?
Be able to feel like not judged. Even people that I know
on a picnic.
Like, it's hard to find people to trust, like truly, because a lot of people don't have your best interest or like will use things.
You know, I think I get why you like her. Like you said, it's nice of a friend that doesn't judge you because you won't let them. I imagine Gussie.
It's a good strategy.
Opinion in the conversation, but Addison just keeps going.
It's so rare to find a friendship like we have.
Yeah, Addison, that's why
it's really hard to have someone to talk to.
No, yeah, I get what you're.
Be able to feel like not judged.
Yeah.
Even people that I know in LA shoots together and like the same type of music.
We were definitely the weird girls in school. We took pictures, we liked music, we were the outcasts of society. Where'd you go to school, Addison? Rikers? You just named the most basic bitch shit and claimed it as personality. In a voiceover, nonetheless. You had time to script this. We were just like kind of alt girls. We got Starbucks every morning and did cheerleading after school. Sometimes on the weekend, we would go to the mall and get
That is pretty wild.
Fries. We were crazy. I thought you were
loose cannons.
Series. You're losing me.
We used to literally do photo shoots every day.
That is pretty unique.
Good times. Is that the vibe anyone else is picking up? Like Gussie was in Addison's channel before fame, and now she's even more scared of her. It's really awesome you invited me on your reality TV show, Addison. Right, so after the nostalgia trip, the girls decide to have a night out on the town, which in Louisiana is called celebrating the one day of the month that God decided not to flood the whole state. So why not let loose?
This is where I can
they're getting crazy.
Really be myself.
It's a hootenanny.
Like dreamt about LA. I know. Since 8th
What are these conversations?
You're still here? I'll calendar you in though. It's been 2 years and it seems like I haven't had you come visit yet. Yeah, just send me or actually my assistant's assistant an email and we'll review it and someone will reach out.
That's the way to do it.
If maybe I'm free. Oh my god, actually we could use
Gussie's following isn't big enough
for my TikToks.
They won't allow her in California.
Oh my god, you could hold the sheet. It would be just like old times. Poor Gussie. I'm sorry for making fun of your name earlier. You deserve better. So maybe Addison's not the best friend you could ask for, but she's still a family gal, right? We know this because her entire family moved out with her to LA. Ain't that a fucking nightmare? You graduate high school, get famous, move from home, and your parents come with you to ride off your success. I don't entirely blame them. They saw she was making money. Your parents come
Wait, what is mom doing over? Jesus Christ!
Blame them. They saw she was making
You're fucking
money.
Busting it wide open.
Can suck one. We're coming for the Hollywood Hills. But apparently Addison hasn't had a chance to talk to her younger brother Enzo about living in LA and not going to school anymore. So let's get his thoughts.
I don't really want to go to school again. I didn't like, in Baton Rouge, you had like 1 million followers and everyone was so annoying about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Philly cream cheese and French toast is fire.
I hate Snapchat so much.
What were people like?
Like, no, they were just like mean.
To you? Because I
No, they would always be like, oh, can you tell Addie to come follow me?
Don't make him spell it out, Addison. They said, Enzo, I want to bang your sister, give her my number. That's how any middle schooler boy conversation would go when your older sister is TikTok famous. It's unfortunately inevitable.
Yeah.
Take this article, for instance. Addison Rae's brother, Enzo Lopez, joined season 7 cast of Chicken Girls. Thanks, Just Jared Jr., for pummeling into this kid that he's only known as Addison Rae's brother.
So after
God, isn't that the fucking worst? I see that shit all the time for like those celebrity siblings. Where the fuck is that headline? There it is. They do that for like everyone. Oh, there was one I just read. And no, not E-Rob, Tyler's brother. What the fuck was it? Oh my god. Hold on, this is gonna make me really upset. Not the Hemsworth. You guys know there is a third Hemsworth brother though? There's Liam, Chris, and then one other guy. I don't know his name. Maybe Gussie Hemsworth, I don't really know. Yeah, there's a third one.
which they no doubt get bullied for. Her even younger brother Lucas is only 7 and the internet already hates him. He smelled like ketchup. He got a sticky iPad. If garlic was a person. It's Jesus. A goddamn child. The comments are accurate, but geez, relax, would you? Every episode of this series ultimately follows the exact same structure. Fake emotional one-on-one conversation, activity time, fake emotional one-on-one conversation closure, and then Addison will narrate the life lessons she learned today. Because that's obviously how we grow in real life.
How is this show
doing stuff and like a cartoon character go to bed unlocking a new moral? You know what?
How does this show even do that though? Nothing happens.
I'm not even sure why I bothered waiting for the full 10 episodes to come out when I only used footage from the first 7. This whole show boils down to a double as a cash grab as well as a PR play to make you feel bad for an insanely wealthy 21-year-old. Saying Addison had the perfect childhood in Louisiana or that she's not affected by online harassment, but they're first world problems and this show does nothing to put that into perspective. And for a production company that claims to champion and collaborate with incredible and underrepresented creators, was the social media giant Addison Rae really the best pick of someone to make a show about? Anyways, that's the video today. Bradison stands. Be sure to subscribe and turn post notifications on, as well as follow me on Instagram at Gunnar Klein. I heard that account is giving off major Sagittarius vibes these days. And consider becoming a member on Patreon so you can help fund my reality TV show, Gunnar Goes to Vegas. That's another joke. I prefer Miami. With that said, good day.
Whoa, what the
Someone please go check on Gussie now.
Nobody prefers Miami. Jesus. Man sleeps with his socks on and prefers Miami? I mean, I guess Miami is better than, like, hell. I suppose. Maybe. I don't know. That'd even be a tight race. Hell is a neighborhood in Miami. You just don't like big cities? No, Miami is a special exception. It is truly abhorrent to adventure and be in for any length of time. We made the mistake of driving down for that fucking Floyd Mayweather-Logan Paul fight in Miami, and leaving the stadium, it took us over an hour just to get out of the stadium because it's so poorly designed, and they funnel you onto the actual fucking interstate. So when you try and get an Uber to leave, the Ubers can't stop, and there's nowhere for them to park. So in total, getting out of the stadium and getting to a place over the interstate took an hour, and then it took an additional almost 2 hours to get an Uber, because then we had to walk an extra mile up the road to a nearby fast food place. I don't remember what it was. It might have been Sonic. I don't remember. In order for an Uber to have a place to fucking park to pick us up. Because that stadium is isolated, and they only allow you to go to the fucking interstate side where Ubers can't stop. It was miserable. That whole city is designed in the worst way possible. Place fucking sucks. You Uber from Tampa to Miami? What? No. Our hotel was only like 3 miles from that stadium. We would have gotten there faster walking. Place was absolute garbage. I hate Miami, man. I've been there 3 times now, and every time it's just absolutely miserable. Worse than the last. The people are okay. I've never had a problem with the people in Miami or anything. Especially if you like drugs. Thanks to Prime Sage. They are giving that shit out. Is there a poop map of Miami? Good question. I'm not sure. How's Moisty Esports? It's going amazing. We have finally finalized one of our bigger announcements, and it's just a matter of how we want to announce it. So we're coming up with something fun and cool to do with it. Do you like Bill Cosby? No. I'll just say it. I don't think that Bill Cosby's a good guy. I'll say it again. I don't like Bill Cosby. I was like hitting a Mario block and getting 50 coins out of it. Damn. Thank you, Taco. Oh! This picture's for you, McLovin. I have a good feeling about this one. We're gonna see something fucking scary.